So let's talk the house that Rob built. This document, I found myself misty-eyed watching it because it speaks so highly of you and your incredible legacy. So what was it like to see this on the big screen and to hear all these amazing testimonies of people whose lives you've impacted?
Well, it brought back a lot of memories because we went back so far, things I'd forgotten, and um, the main thing was to realize how fortunate I was when so many of my former players got together when I retired, and got to see so many kids that I could share stories with, and how much they fulfilled my life. And you don't really think about that stuff going back, I think, until you're done. Anyway, I didn't. And so it was a great time to reminisce and to look back and see what these ladies accomplished.
You took the reins of this team when women didn't have a ton of visibility and they weren't taken as serious athletes. And you also gave Native American women across the board prominence, which is just so incredible. Talk a little bit about this theme of including women and empowering them and why this was so important to you.
Well, I kind of actually got into women's coaching by chance a little bit. I thought I'd taken a high school men's job. The guy didn't retire, and they asked if I'd take the women. Well, I have three sisters, very athletic sisters, that it's not that long ago. Two of them didn't really get a chance to compete in sports, wasn't offered. One of them kind of got the full benefit, actually played for me. But so it wasn't, I wanted to coach. Basketball had been a big part of my life, but I certainly I had coached women a little bit in some camp situation. Never approached it any differently than coaching a guy or a gal. And I think I was fortunate because getting in on the ground level, young women having an opportunity to do something they didn't have, they took full advantage of that. I mean, it's funny, they didn't question anything I told them. They didn't question my coaching. They were just so eager to learn and so eager to take advantage of an opportunity they never had. And from there on, it was just, I was just extremely fortunate to be a part of the growth of women's sports in general. And that's another thing about, this video. When Megan first came to me, of course, Megan's kind of a prankster, and I thought she was pulling a prank, said she wanted to do this movie. And I'm very comfortable about doing a movie about me, but actually it's not a movie about me as much as it's a movie about a lot of things, the growth of opportunity, what women are capable of doing and accomplishing and had to prove. Oh, people would come and watch them. There was just so many things that grew out of that. And I just, fell in love with the whole concept day to day as I was coaching. I had talented, competitive, bright, young athletes to coach. And what more could you ask for?
Have you been encouraged with the direction that women's sports are going in over the last several decades? Have you seen a big change?
Oh, amazing change. And one thing I tried to impress on my later teams is how not everybody had this. We didn't always stay in nice hotels, and we didn't always get all these things. And it's not that long ago that the people before you built this. There's some champions in coaching of the real leaders, started back about the time I was, but the Pat Head Summits and the Jody Conrads. I could go on and on that fought for just wanted the chance to show. And I got to a place where it kind of took off and people started following us. And it wasn't that long before things changed quite a bit. I still think there's a ways to go. But in terms of how being treated fairly and given opportunities, I think that's come a tremendous amount.
Yeah, that's incredible. I also love that you're one of seven, right? One of seven kids.
8, actually.
One of 8. I'm one of 7. So I was like, that's so cool. I love that. You don't hear that often.
Well, no, and I could relate to the frustrations that women had from that, because I said 2 of my sisters, well, one I think had a chance to be in sports 2 years in high school. One I don't believe had a chance at all, and then one basketball had started. And I have a mother who's very athletic that we never even, and I look back at things like they never had teams, but they put together a women's softball team for some game on 4th of July or something in our town. And my mother was practicing her pitching in the house. The weather's not always good, because I remember we were going through 2 doorways and she broke a window. And but when you look back, what we just, you didn't realize they weren't getting the same chance we were. 5 boys, all athletes, all got scholarships to college. And my sisters, unfortunately, one did, but the others didn't have that chance. It really doesn't make sense. Title IX had a lot to do with it. But it was really fun and amazing to be a part of the start of that, and then to watch it grow. And it's not something I sat around and thought about, because I'm coaching. I'm worried about the next game and the next team and all those things. But through that process, it grew a lot. And we're pretty proud here in Missoula, Montana, of the support that our community gives us. That's one of the things we had. And the ladies were, the first time we were in NCAA tournament and we had a home game, and we hadn't drawn all that much. It was 2 or 3 years in, I think. And a whole bunch of people, over 4,000 people showed up at that game. And just the looks on my players' faces when they ran out of the locker room, was, something you don't ever forget.
What are some of the greatest life lessons you believe that sports teach?
Well, I think it teaches resiliency, number one. Nobody in sports doesn't have setbacks. You fail a lot. And I think the thing about being on a basketball team, or probably any team, all those things, the struggles you have, they aren't as bad because you're sharing it with a bunch of others. Mm-hmm. And I really think things you share with others become so much more important than individual things you do, whether it's a tough loss, or somebody loses a family member, or you're having a bad day, or you're having personal problems. Being on a team, being on a basketball team helps you. It strengthens you to be able to handle those situations. And I think that carries on then into life. There was an Instagram thing I listened to last night. I didn't know one of my former Native American players did. And Megan sent it to me and I listened to it. And she was she just verbalized how much that having been a lady Grizz or a female athlete, how much that helps her now. She's a single mom of 4, and she knows she can handle what gets thrown at her, she said, based on lessons she learned being an athlete.
Well, and your life is also, I felt like, woven throughout the documentary is such a testament to the power of an important role model in the life of a young person, and somebody who really just cares about them. What encouragement would you offer to parents, coaches, youth pastors, anybody who works with kids?
Well, I think somehow getting across the point, as I mentioned, sharing things, that you're not alone.
Yeah.
There are people there for you, whether you know it or not. There are people there for you in almost any walk of life. Sometimes you have to reach out, or sometimes you have to let and be helped. And just that you don't, there's some horrible things going on. Come back to Native Americans, there's a really high young lady suicide thing going on, and disappearance going on, and some really sad things, and to know that there are people that care and want to be there for you, and somehow being able to let them know that is just really important. So and I think in terms of sports, I always felt sports should be fun. It's a game. Yeah. Life is, everything in life isn't life and death, and sports certainly isn't. So sharing fun times through not so good times, all those things, I just think just strengthens you. And for young people, knowing that someone cares, being there for them, giving them a hug, understanding, not being too judgmental, because we all made a lot of mistakes, and just let them know that they're going to make it, they're going to survive, and because there's someone there that is pulling for you and loves you.
So this documentary has won awards. It has rave reviews just across social media, across the internet. Were you surprised at the positive response it got and just how much it blew up?
Well, yeah, I didn't really know anything about making a documentary. It's been a real interesting experience for me just learning and seeing what Megan's doing. And Megan is an amazing young lady, but I've met people that she works with, John and Pastor David Guffey, uh, who's a priest in LA, and just all these amazing people. But I was amazed by how the musical score was put together for this. Amazingly talented people. Megan invited me down to see how that was done, and just what goes into making a documentary. It's not easy. It takes a lot. I mean, I don't know how many hours of interviews I had, enough that this would have another season. I told Megan, how many seasons are we going to do? Yeah, of course, maybe it's because they had to do so many cuts every time they interviewed me, but it was a real fun experience to see. And of course, I was pulling for Megan. This is her project. I couldn't say no because I think the world of her, love her to death. And so here I am, doing what I can. And I really liked the documentary from the standpoint, like I said, I didn't feel comfortable. This is a movie about me, and it really is so much more than that. In fact, it's really about something else. And I love being a part of that.